Hi, it's Hazelle.
It's Azura.
It's Germaine.
And welcome back to Clarity's Hush Podcast. It's episode 2, and if you haven't seen our new set for season 2, you should totally check us out on IG. We look so comfortable, and today we are decked in
Satin PJs.
Satin PJs.
Okay, but Azura's one is not a PJ. It is an actual dress to be worn
Yes.
out.
It was an actual dress to be worn out, but apparently everybody says it looks like PJs.
I mean-
so now it finally has lived its purpose.
You guys should go and check out this video on IG and then tell us if you think Azura's outfit is more of a dress or a PJ.
I'll try and take like an OOTD and I'll try and prove you that you can walk down Orchard Road and people will look at you and wow, fashionista.
Only
Yeah.
Azura can. Only Azura can.
But we feel so comfortable.
Yeah,
and
it is.
hopefully, you guys feel comfortable listening to us as well.
And thank you to the team who made this set happen. It's so cozy and
Pinterest
intimate.
goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, so in this episode, we'll be talking about one of Germaine's favorite topics. Okay, a topic that she really wants to talk about. She really
okay.
wants to explore.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity.
Oh, I feel very strongly
Right?
about this topic.
I'm sure not just you, me too, and many female listeners out there, male as well. Okay, so before I begin, let me just introduce what toxic masculinity is.
All right, tell
Okay,
us.
So, without the toxic, just masculinity, it refers to perform behaviors attributed to manhood. Okay, this we all know. But what about toxic masculinity? This refers to a subset of violence, destructive or oppressive behaviors performed in an attempt to live up to a mythological idea of masculinity. What do you think?
Okay, well, I think that it really stems from a patriarchal society where men are mostly leaders. Like, I mean, you look at our whole, roster of like presidents. Halimah Yacob is the first female president
Right.
after 50 plus years of independence. So it's because of things like that that perpetuate this sort of like, oh, men are leaders, men cannot have emotions, men cannot cry. You've heard that before? Men cannot cry?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Boys shed no tears, right?
Yeah. Have you guys seen your partners cry?
Wow, to be honest, very rarely leh.
Really?
Great question.
Like nothing can get Jordan down, I swear.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
But he will cry if I cry lah.
Oh. So you have seen him cry?
Yeah,
lah?
I have. Like
Azura?
twice.
I think very rarely leh. I must have seen.
Have you seen Asaf cry, Jimmy?
Oh, Asaph is a cancer. Cancers
A1
are
also.
yeah. Cancers are notoriously emotional. I have definitely seen him cry from like stress from work. Things that happen in his life. Sometimes when we argue, right, and it gets to a stage where it's very heated, sometimes he'll cry. It's a way of letting out emotions, right?
Right,
It's a
right.
human thing. Who says if you
Right.
cry you're a girl? Like, huh? Guys also have tear ducts, right?
Yeah
Then what is it
lah.
for if you don't cry?
Exactly. Okay, so back to the topic of toxic masculinity. What are some behaviors of toxic masculinity? Okay, number 1, what we mentioned just now, suppressing emotions or masking your distress.
Yeah.
Which I think is bad lah. Not just for men, for women
Unnecessary
as
as
well.
well, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, and number 2, maintaining an appearance of hardness. Number 3, misogynist control of women.
Terrible.
I hate this. And number 4, violence or aggression as an indicator of power. Yeah, this is what I don't understand. Why do some men need to, be so aggressive to show that they are in control?
Yeah.
You can be in control in different ways.
Yeah.
Right?
But on the converse, right, sometimes I feel like I have to be aggressive as a woman to prove my place.
So what are the things you would do?
Like, for example, if I'm
table.
if I'm in a situation where it's mostly men, I will need to kind of like establish my dominance in a sense so that they don't walk over me or they don't take me as like, oh, no lah, just a woman's opinion. Yeah. So I have to like overcompensate for that sometimes in very, very like male-led situations.
In what situations were you felt that way?
Sometimes in work.
Oh.
Yeah. Not this line of work, but sometimes like other gigs, right? Where it's like a lot of males leading the whole project kind of thing. You know that they have a very traditional view of like, oh, whatever the male says has more power than the female. And sometimes when you feel like, when you say something, right, you just feel that they are not taking you seriously. That's the kind of thing where I feel like I have to assert a bit more dominance.
Right.
Yeah. Then be like the female, okay, never mind. Like, I'll just let my feelings go kind of thing.
So to all the male listeners listening to this episode, I
Don't play
think
with us.
No lah,
At least
it's
show
hard
your
for
female friends or
us.
colleagues some
Yeah.
respect, some basic
Yes,
respect. I think that's very,
exactly.
very important. So I have an uncle, right? Very traditional family. He must be about 65 years old now.
Okay.
He really is like that, toxic masculinity. But you know what? He loves his family.
Right.
It's just that he shows his love in a different form.
Okay.
So he exerts dominance over his wife, which is my auntie, and his 3 daughters.
In what way?
So, for example, so the daughters getting married, right? His opinions will be very strong on how the wedding should be like and
Right.
how their house, their furniture, what kind of things they pick for their future house should be like. Something like that. But it all comes from a viewpoint where the father really loves his daughter and he really wants the best for his daughter. And he's just afraid that the daughter may be too young to know what is actually right. Like what kind of wood would last. For example, what kind of flooring, would be best for your family, easiest to
Okay.
clean, that kind of thing.
I mean, I know it comes from a good place.
Right.
But I think when it gets too much, I don't think we should use excuses, like, oh, but it comes from a good place, or oh, but this is how he shows love. Because I think it's still wrong there. I mean, I'm not saying in this case.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think especially when it gets maybe violent, for example.
But violence is another thing.
Yeah.
Luckily, none of my family members or relatives
Yeah.
have ever gotten there.
Yeah.
It's just that I think in the traditional kind of viewpoint, they are usually stronger in terms of the words that they use.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, since you mentioned about your uncle and your auntie, right? So when my brother got married, my father invited a lot of people to their wedding. Like I think 60% of the guests probably
Okay.
were my dad's friends
Okay.
and business partners and stuff like that. So I'm planning for my future, right? So the other day I asked him, I said like, so Daddy, how many people do you want to invite? Because I need to look for a venue. I need to think about all this. Then he surprised me. He said, it's up to you.
Aww.
He gave me the choice. Even though he's a very traditional man,
Oh.
he gave me the choice. Yeah. But he did not give my brother the choice lah.
First wedding lah. Because his was the first wedding, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
correct.
could it be because he's a son? I mean, I'm just considering
that
this.
actually
yeah.
could be a thing also.
You think?
Yeah, I think it's maybe like the eldest and the son kind
Right.
of thing. Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, I actually got both ways. to
Wait,
look
point
at
is
it.
you're getting married?
No lah.
Are we planning already?
No. I'm just thinking. Then I brought it up, right? Then Asaph was like, in front of my parents, Asaph was like, I haven't asked them. Then you go and bring it up. I'm very shy. Then I was like, no, I don't need to be shy.
It's so cute.
So traditional. Must ask for permission one.
Yes, I think this is
Oh, is it?
romantic.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that will tell me, wow, good man.
But they
Yes.
already know what.
But still, it's respect to your
Yeah, it's
parents,
respect.
Oh, okay.
It's a form of not toxic masculinity.
Correct.
Right?
Alright.
So guys listening, right, if you want to propose to your girlfriend and you want her to say yes, 100% yes, before you propose, you go see her parents in secret.
Yes.
Ask for her hand in marriage. And then
Yes.
after you propose and if she's like, but what do I tell my parents? Then you can go, I've already asked them.
Settle.
Right. Perfect, yeah. Okay. So before we go in deeper into this episode, just a note, we are not saying that all men are toxic, but certain behavior can be. And everyone, men or women, are capable of such behavior.
Yeah, in fact, did you know there's a thing called toxic femininity on the other side of it, on the flip
Like
side?
how ah?
For example, like using traits that, are kind of indicative of women, like for example, emotional manipulation.
Right.
Then you use that to get what you want
Use that against your partner. lah.
against your partner.
Oh,
Correct.
shit, do I do that?
We might be guilty of it.
Yeah, we'll leave this for another episode.
Okay.
I think this is enough to cover one episode on its own.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but today, for episode 2, we are all here to learn about how toxic masculinity not only affects women, but men themselves and society as a whole. This is so important.
It's actually a societal problem. It's not an individual, problem.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but it takes the individuals changing to change this cultural matter.
Exactly.
Fully agree. So here's a question for both of you.
All right.
What are some things you're told growing up about how men should act?
Oh, yeah. Like I said earlier, men cannot cry. Men cannot show weakness. That kind of thing.
What about you, Azura?
Wow. Okay, I think
Real men need to be strong. You know.
You mean physically?
Yeah.
Or
Like
emotionally?
you know how they always say like, oh, you throw like a girl. I think that's very toxic masculinity. Like, why? I throw like a girl cannot. You want to see me throw things?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No lah. I stopped throwing things already. I tell you guys.
Hey, next time, like, if you're angry, can you, like, throw your bags? We catch outside.
Yeah. No problem.
You might as well ask me to throw my money. Yeah, so like real men, you know?
Right.
Okay, this is interesting because I think when we talk about, like, growing up, right? First of all, I'm an only child.
Okay.
I went to an all-girls school for years.
Oh.
Yeah, so my interactions are very limited.
Okay,
She's got a
understand.
different perspective from us.
Yes. So what is your viewpoint on this? It's interesting, you see, because you come from such a background.
Yeah. So I think when I watch stuff, for example, right, like dramas or movies or whatever, and I see these traits, right, it doesn't make sense to me.
Oh.
And it makes me angry.
Like what kind of traits?
Like, okay. So recently, I saw this in a Korean drama.
Okay.
What a father, I tell you, made me so angry. So basically, I think he's like, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think maybe this might be quite typical of an Asian
Household.
father,
Male
male
parent.
parent
Uh-huh.
of that age, for example.
Okay.
So it's a family with 3 daughters.
Okay.
The first one is married off to a dentist.
Okay.
His choice.
Oh.
The second one is now being proposed to by a guy she has no feelings for.
Okay.
Although she's dated him for like 4 years. But she is just done with him lah.
Okay.
And he really wants to marry her. But it's one of those like marriage out of convenience, you know? Oh, because we've already dated for 4 years anyway, let's just do this. Obviously she's gonna say no lah, you know?
Yeah.
But her father is like pushing so hard for this. Because he works for his dad.
Oh.
So it's a business thing, you see, and he's pushing so hard for it, and it's crazy. I got so angry, I tell you, because right, she's trying to make a stand for herself, and she's trying to say that I'm not going to be happy, you know,
Right.
this is not happening, and he already forced the elder one to do it, right? So because the sisters are very close, right now what's happening to the elder daughter? Wow, like real person, huh?
Yeah.
But basically, the first daughter, right, who's married to the dentist, she's being abused by her husband. She's been keeping a file of all her injuries. And she's asking for a divorce right now, but the guy refuses to let her go. And is just abusing her, like, emotionally, physically, and everything else. And every time they had discussions, and the father is forcing the second daughter to get married, right? And the first one would just leave remarks like, why would you want her unhappy like me? You know? And then I think, plus maybe culturally for them, there's a lot of negative connotations with getting divorced.
Yeah, for sure.
So when she's pushing for a divorce, right, and finally it got to the father, so basically everyone already knew, and when when they found out that she was being abused and everything, obviously they were like heartbroken, right?
Right.
But when it came to the father, and you expect him to put your daughter before
First.
anyone else, right? And
Yeah.
before anything, but he was so upset, and he said things like, everyone makes mistakes, just take him back lah.
Wow.
This is toxic masculinity.
I got so angry.
Yeah, this apa. What show?
I tell you later.
Infuriating.
Infuriating, absolutely. How could you, you know?
Yeah, your daughter's happiness comes first. That's your blood.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to agree with Azura. Like growing up, I think a lot of my opinions of men and how they should act didn't come from my parents, but they came from TV dramas, Korean dramas, movies. 2 years ago, I watched Crash Landing on You. Has it been 2 years already?
Yeah.
A year plus ago.
Year and a half.
So I think a character like Hyun Bin, right?
Ayo.
Aiyo, my goodness, help leh, everybody. Like the way he holds the door open for the girl.
The candle, do you remember the candle?
Yeah, the candle. Sold out in real life, by the way. It's just like the fact that he doesn't just hold the door for the girl that he likes. He holds the door for any stranger, any passers-by.
It's stuff like that, right?
Yeah. He
Yeah,
was taught
that's
to hold
great.
doors. Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like if you offer to pay for meals, it's great lah. But this
Yeah.
is, of course, how we expect men to be on a date. You know, we expect them to pay. We expect them to hold the doors. We expect them to come and maybe pick us up in the car and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Toxic femininity.
I think that is.
Hold up. Toxic
femininity.
Yeah.
That very well may be. Expectations lah. These are just expectations, our ideals, and whether or not they can be translated into reality is an entire different story altogether.
After she brought up human being, I cannot work anymore.
Now
I know.
Azura's mind is just
Wow.
But do your other halves display these kinds of behaviors? Like Jordan, he automatically holds my bags, but sometimes he may very well forget that I'm walking along with him, and then he will just go through that door and then just leave me behind. And then sometimes I'll be like, oi, 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 can you come back and hold the door for me? Then he will look at me and say like, dude, I'm like holding your bags, you have nothing on your hands. Can't you just open the door yourself? Then I say, but
Right.
sweeter ma, you open for me.
I think that one is toxic femininity.
It is. And this is when Jordan will come in and say, baby, this is double standard. You know, yeah. And he knocks some sense into me lah.
Oh, he call you out eh?
Yeah, my goodness. So sometimes very sad lah. No lah.
I think with Asaf, not really. I don't really see that. Yeah, it's something that I cannot really accept also. Like this chauvinistic kind of like behavior lah. Azura?
I think I'm the more dominant one.
So you hold the door lah.
No lah, but I think he gives in to me a lot. I mean, if I were other people also, I won't even like go up against myself lah. Sure lose one.
That's true.
No. But yeah, I don't really see that. I think a lot of times it's great that I think we're on the same page that
Right.
everything is a compromise and everything's a discussion.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, except for like I don't think he has opened the car door for me in a long time. So maybe he should do that.
Yeah, but actually that's very sweet there. But in Singapore, hardly anyone does that. Wow, the car park lot so tight. How to open the door for you and then come back out himself, right? You
It
get
is
what I
quite
mean?
sad. I've never had the door open for me. The car
open
door
for you
open.
later?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you?
Okay.
I feel so left out.
Later I drop Ace of a PM.
Yeah, can you please everybody DM me him and say open the door for me?
Okay.
So maybe in our opinions, this is what a real man should act like.
Yeah, I think another sense of like toxic masculinity is when dating, right? Men are always expected to make the first move. Men have to pay for the first date. Like that is toxic masculinity. Even if you think it's acceptable for me.
Is it? That is toxic, man.
Apparently so, yeah.
But quite sweet what?
But in a completely gender equal society, that would not exist. This notion, you know what I mean?
That is true. That is
Yeah.
very, very true.
Yeah, and I think maybe sometimes, right? Do you feel like guys might not take us seriously because we say we want to fight for like women rights and everything is equal and we're independent, but we still expect them to pay on the first date, to ask us out first.
Toxic femininity.
Right? And I think that's why sometimes they don't take us seriously, you know?
No, to me it's a deal breaker if you don't pay for the first date.
Right?
Yeah.
As much as we are talking about toxic masculinity, see, we also cannot accept if they don't pay for the first date.
Yeah. Okay lah, we reflect on ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
as
We
well.
have to, we have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll cover this in another
Yeah.
episode, hopefully.
Yeah.
For listeners who are tuning in,
We're very objective.
yeah, if you are like
We
us,
call ourselves out, don't worry.
yeah. Let's reflect together.
Okay.
Reflect together.
Very good.
Okay, so who comes to mind when you think of toxic masculinity?
Oh, you know what is the best example? Is boys in school. I think lah.
You mean back in secondary school days?
Yeah. So back in secondary school, I was in dance. And obviously dance is majority females, right? But there was one guy.
Okay.
There was
poor
that one
thing.
guy. And he was made fun of by all the other guys for being a
poor
dancer.
thing.
And he's like a damn good dancer, better than Hazel and I. No doubt. Very, very good. But he was made fun of.
Poor thing.
How did he deal with that though?
I don't really know. I don't really know, to be honest. But it's quite sad lah to see that
I hope
happening.
that didn't stop him from dancing.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. But because it was like modern dance, right? So guys view it as kunyang.
Yeah.
That in itself is
Poor
toxic
thing.
masculinity.
It is. Like who is to say guys cannot love dance? Or a more feminine form of dance, for example, contemporary dance, right?
But you know what? Maybe these boys are, like, if you think about it, where do you think they learned it from, you know? Somebody must have said, maybe a parent, for example.
Right.
Like, hey, choose another activity lah, don't dance lah, kunyang ah. Huh?
That's true.
You must have learned it from somewhere.
Yeah, true. Actually, with regards to what I said just now, I take back my words. I cannot say that contemporary dance is a more feminine form of dance. That is wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, that's wrong. But maybe in society's from society's viewpoint.
Yeah. No, it's like guys can do hip hop. But when
Right.
guys do contempt, so it's like more of the aggressiveness.
Right.
Men are always expected to be more aggressive.
Strong,
Not so
powerful.
flowy.
Yeah.
And gentle with your movements.
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, boys in secondary school, that's one for sure. What about you, Azura? Who comes to mind when you think of toxic masculinity?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I have to say, I think we are very lucky. Maybe we really choose the kind of people we hang out with. Yeah, and then for sure we will filter out like such toxic people in our lives.
Yeah, from
I
what
think.
in my circle, the
Yeah.
female is always more dominant in the relationships.
Is it?
It is not like the man saying like, "Oh, you cannot go out so late with your friends." Usually, it's the
Oh.
female saying, "Hey, can you please come home earlier and spend time with me?"
Shit, that's me!
Yeah. We will reflect.
We will reflect. Okay. Promise, we will
Okay,
reflect.
this one I teach you because I very good one.
Okay, how?
I'll be like, go, never mind. And he'll be like, sorry, I'll be a bit late. No, it's okay, go.
No.
I'm very happy lah.
Why?
Huh?
Are you being pegro?
Yeah,
or are you
being
really
No.
saying that, no, go out?
No, I
It's
mean
okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
You don't
why?
care?
Because if I'm out, I would want that peace of mind as well.
That's
That
true.
no one is
That's
rushing
true,
me
that's
home.
true.
That
True.
I don't have to, like,
Worry about him being angry.
Exactly.
Ugh, I have a lot of changing to do.
Really leh.
Yeah.
But from my point of view, it's because I only stay over, for example, once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And on that one night, of course, I would expect him to come home a bit earlier to spend some time with me lah.
That
you know?
is fair.
Yeah,
Understandable.
right? It's not every day. But maybe if you start living together, then things will be different. So just now, speaking of kunyang, right? Do you think the way we see men now is different from the way people see men, say, 10, 20 years ago?
Oh, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, when you look at our like grandparents' time, right? The males are the only ones working. Females do not work traditionally.
Yeah.
And now that is totally not the case. Yeah, it's seen as very, very different. And I think it's more acceptable for men to show their emotions these days. Yeah, and it's also because like we have internet now, we've got social media, we can see more of the world, and we are exposed to like a lot of role models. Like for example, Shawn Mendes.
Right.
Everyone thought that, he's very, very kunyang. Yeah. And he was
Really?
he was very hurt by it.
Okay.
Because he just grew up that way. He grew up with a lot of females in his household. So he was very hurt by the fact that people were questioning his masculinity.
Okay.
And so much so that he was so anxious he couldn't sing,
Huh.
Yeah. But then I think it has become better in recent years. Like Harry Styles wore a skirt on the cover of Vogue.
Yeah.
He got a lot of hate for that, by the way. Yeah. So I think we haven't completely moved on yet from that kind of like view of what's masculine. But I think we're starting to.
I mean, definitely, I think it'll take a long, long time, but we're getting there. I think more people are speaking out as well. I think especially last year with the entire pandemic and everything, I think we started seeing more people online voicing out about how, like, don't forget that guys have feelings as well. That a lot of them are struggling. That, the increase in calls from like helplines and help centers, basically.
Yes.
They saw a huge increase in number of guys calling in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard this where people tell boys, hey, grow some balls lah? I have used it in my daily life.
Oh no.
On a guy.
Why are you all so shocked?
On who? A server.
Yeah.
But why? You must have been furious, right, to say something
Yeah.
like
No,
that.
when I'm very angry, I say things that
You don't
I
mean.
don't
You wish you
mean.
can take back.
I wish I could take back. No, but I mean, even not just that, like in your daily lives, have you heard that being used before?
Yep.
Grow some balls? Yep.
A lot, especially on social media platforms as well. So I also want to bring up this example. This is a vlogger based in Taiwan. His name is Zhong Mingxuan.
Okay.
And he has 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
He's only 21 years old.
All these young kids.
21 years old. But what is so special about him is that he bleaches his hair, he puts on heavy makeup, he has like his nails done, he always has lipstick on point, and he's very vocal about the topics that he discusses on YouTube.
Right.
He's not afraid to flame people. He's not afraid to wear a skirt, like you said,
Right.
and do a video. So many people may comment like, "Hey, grow some balls," like stop doing this, whatever you are doing. But he doesn't care. So I think he's a very good example of not surrendering to this whole toxic masculinity kind of mindset, because he is really who he is, and he believes that he's happiest this way.
Yeah, and he dares to show it. But actually, right, I hear a lot of grow some balls from boys. I think they are the ones who say it a lot, actually, about like other guys.
Like, let's say he's like hung up over a girl, then his guy friends will be like, hey, just grow some balls lah, for example.
Yes, for example.
But if you really want to grow something, grow a vagina. You know, balls like hit already, so pain. That doesn't happen for us.
Vagina every month also pain. Huh?
Yeah, that's why. So we should change the term. Correct.
Do you girls believe that Gen Z will put an end to toxic masculinity?
Yes.
Right?
I totally believe it.
Like that 21 years old
so?
vlogger.
Yes, because now I see a lot of men wearing nail polish and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And previously, right, it used to be considered kunyang lah for men to go get mani-pedi.
Right,
Yeah, but now
right.
they're like wearing nail polish. They're like getting their eyebrows threaded.
Exactly. Now they're teaching me how to put on my makeup.
Correct. Right. Yeah, they're getting hair removal and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I believe that Gen Z will change and shift this a lot.
It may not end
Yeah.
toxic masculinity, but I'm sure it'll
go
change
somewhere.
this a
Yeah.
lot.
So recently also, right, I saw this video of one of the BTS boys lah, basically.
Oh, okay.
So he was on a live stream.
Okay.
Without makeup and everything, just like normal, right? And then I think a guy left a comment and said, I think something like, who are this bunch of boys who look like girls with makeup on, or something like that. And
Wow,
he
they're talking
saw-
about BTS, mind you.
And he saw that comment pass through, and he read it out.
Okay.
And he said, this kind of comment, this kind of hate, should I really give you attention? And then he just turned away for a bit, and then he came back and he said, you know what? I've just got one thing to tell you. Remember this, no matter what, you'll never be able to make your girl scream as loud as I can
Oh.
with one follow button on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Which member
Yeah,
was
which
this?
member?
Sugar.
Oh.
No
He
way.
holds the power and he knows it.
I love that. I was like, wow.
Best comeback ever.
Right?
Yeah.
It
Wow.
is true. And I think that I would appreciate this change. Yeah. But as much as we want to change toxic masculinity, like we mentioned just now, we must also change the way we think about men.
Correct.
And how they act or behave.
We have a part to play too.
Exactly.
I will hold the door open for him today.
You open the car door for him.
I will open the car
Actually,
door.
that's true. I've never thought about opening the car door for Jordan.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
I do.
we should do that. Is it?
I come out first and I happen to be standing next to the door, I'll just open lor.
Oh, I would just walk across to my seat. Meow.
Maybe we try to
Yeah,
make
we
small
try.
changes as well, yeah. So, I mean, we've definitely heard the phrase, boys will be boys. It's a very, very toxic term. Yeah. It's like dismissing their toxic behaviors by saying, oh, it's because they are just boys. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh. But we cannot use that.
Yeah, or like boys will be playful, boys have the needs. No, I don't think that's valid at all.
Correct. And this kind of like manifests in very, very severe ways, like women harassment. Like, for example, catcalling.
Right.
Yeah, then they're just like, women will brush it off and say like, yeah, it's just boys will be boys.
They're just being playful.
Yeah. But you cannot accept it. Once you accept it, you are giving them power.
You are giving into this toxic masculinity.
Exactly.
Or like making them feel manly.
Or even like, boys talk in their WhatsApp group chats, right? Very disgusting. Like, objectifying us, like
Yeah.
reducing us to our body parts and stuff like that. Yeah. That is all really, really toxic. And sometimes as a female in a group of guys, right, you feel like you have to join in,
Yeah.
or you feel like you have to
Be
one of the
okay with
boys.
it, yeah.
Be one of the boys.
And for example, look at photos of other women together with your guy friends. Is
That's
that how
right.
it works?
Yeah. Very, very misogynistic thoughts and ideas lah. Like, women belong in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm like, you put me in the kitchen, I'll burn it down. You better go.
You don't eat all?
You see, Azura is the kind of woman that
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You will save this world, Azura.
But I think in this day and age, thankfully, I think things are changing up. So if the woman is the one cooking, then the man will be the one cleaning up, washing the dishes.
That's right.
Okay,
I think
I
it's
can
only
cook.
fair.
I'm okay with cooking, but I
Right.
will never ever wash. And everyone knows that. So he will come and I wash. I say yeah,
Aiyo.
duh.
So sweet.
It's a give and take.
Yeah, it is.
Give
It
and take,
is.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of this kind of issues, right, actually stem from the way we women think as well. Like we mentioned just now. So, what do you think are the kinds of behaviors or mindsets that women have that contribute to toxic masculinity?
I would say, like, for example, in last episode, I talked about how I would love to be showered with gifts. Yeah, that
Right.
is me perpetuating toxic masculinity because I expect it.
Right.
Yeah. I shouldn't, you see. In a completely equal world, I shouldn't what?
You can
Oh.
only if
You do it
you
too.
also
Yeah.
shower him with gifts.
I do though.
Oh, then
Yeah.
that's okay. I think that's
Okay,
fair.
okay,
That's fair.
okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Jordan tells me he likes a small little gift every now and then. It doesn't have to be too expensive. I think they just appreciate the fact that we thought of them when we're doing
Right.
our shopping and just
Yeah.
we got something for them, and I think they like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Just pluck your hair out and give him. This is a piece of
cool
me.
and put it in a bottle,
Yeah.
right, and then like give it to
He'll
him.
make it a necklace and he'll wear it.
Like those people who make like trinkets with like breast milk. You know, right?
I have not heard of that.
Huh? Really?
Make
It's a
trinkets
thing,
with
you
breast
know.
milk?
Okay, so like it's a thing now.
Okay.
Where like mothers who like breastfeed their kids
Okay.
to remember, because it's a tough time, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
to remember that, they make like rings or like pendants with like their breast milk in it.
That's nice.
You think?
I would want to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, I would want to.
Okay, like when you make the ring, I'll
Okay.
have a look.
When you make that baby, then
Yeah. If y'all need milk, let me know.
What are some other mindsets that I think women have that will perpetuate toxic masculinity? Coming from my point of view, I think I put a lot of expectations on Jordan, and he has to remind me that, baby, this is double standard coming from your side.
Okay.
right.
Yeah, if I don't perform the same way, I have no rights to ask him to do the same thing for me. Do you think so? Or what is some example?
No, but like for example, you expect them to hold your bag for you, but you don't hold their bag for them. Okay, firstly, they have no bags, like usually.
Yeah,
But you don't, even if they're carrying a lot of things, you wouldn't say like, oh, I hold for you.
Yeah.
Correct?
If they're carrying a lot of things, I would help
I would
out.
offer
But
lah.
if there's only one bag, then
Yeah.
I most probably wouldn't go and say like, hey, puppy, I'll hold your bag for you.
But if
Yeah.
you're holding one bag, he will still hold for you, right?
yes. Actually, that's very, very sweet of him. But I find that we've had arguments over this. I find that I would expect him to pay for our meals, and this is something I think is very toxic.
You've told us this before.
Yes. I've shared this before. I feel like it's
Every meal?
not for expensive meals. I think
Okay.
that if it's like hawker food, if it's only like $5 per meal, I think it'll be sweet if you can just pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go out for fine dining, unless it's a special occasion, like if it's birthday, of course it's my treat. If it's my birthday, of course he'll be treating me. But if we just would like to go out for dinner, then I think it's fair that we go Dutch.
Okay, so I sometimes when dining out, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the waiter or the waitress, like for example, when they bring the bill, right, to the
They'll
table.
always go to the guy first.
Yes, they always go to the
Right.
guy first.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like Asaph doesn't bring his wallet, sometimes he forgets, right? So I will pay for it. And we are totally fine with that. Sometimes I pay, sometimes he pays. It's not like a zero-sum game where we have to like even it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it's because of like the fact that they will go to him first. Then I'll be like, oh no, here's the card kind of thing. Then you feel a sense of a bit of like judgment
Yeah.
in that sense. Like I feel like that perpetuates toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than go straight to the man, just go with the bill to the table and just stand in the middle.
Right.
Yes.
That's true.
Until
That's
someone grabs the bill.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because it could be anybody. Anybody can pay for it. So if you work in the service line, stand in the middle, okay?
Hey, you know what? I've actually seen, Chloe Chu, the influencer, many years ago, before she was married or even attached to her current husband, she was talking about her ex-boyfriend, and her ex-boyfriend would take her card and make payment. So in other people's eyes, it seems like the boyfriend is paying for the meal, but actually the card has her name written on it.
I've done that with Asaph.
Why?
You mean Asaph holds your card to pay the bill?
No. Like I will just like, it's a subtle thing. It's not like, hey, can you hold my card? I will just like pass him the card, then I'll go toilet or something.
But do you go toilet on purpose?
Yeah, with the intention of letting him be the one to give the card.
But why would you do that?
Why?
Yeah.
I really don't know. Now like I'm questioning myself. Like most of the time I would just, do it. But sometimes it's just like, I don't want him to always feel that, I'm paying for stuff.
But you are. Even if you pass him the card, it's still,
Yeah.
you are the one paying
It's
for
still
it.
your card.
Yeah.
That's true. Like he wouldn't pass me his card to go and pay.
Huh.
I think
that's really interesting.
I think I'm more selfish because I wouldn't pass him my card. In fact, if I'm the one paying for the bill,
You make sure people
I
know
would
it's
proudly
my
sign
damn
it.
money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
咪啊，那个是我的卡，给我
Hey,
钱。
Fernio, yeah,
Yeah.
my bill, thanks. No lah. But
Okay.
however he feels is up to him. If he feels guilty, which somewhere deep inside my heart, I hope he does. Ayo, very bad, oh. Ayo, what kamawan? Okay, if he feels guilty, then maybe next time he can offer to pay for the bill. But it's not like I'm paying all the time.
Correct,
So we
correct.
take turns.
Same.
But sometimes he's a bit more forgetful and I'm a bit more sensitive. So I always remember the times that I pay. And this can be a real issue in the relationship.
Yeah.
Like
Calculative.
Yes. I think I'm the calculating one. Yeah, I would always, remember, hey, I paid for this and then
Huh.
Actually,
Actually, I've done that before, like
What?
passing my card for him to pay.
Okay.
But
But
with
for
what
a different
intention?
reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so that happens if I notice eyes on me and I feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
And I want to get out of the place ASAP. So I will pass him my card and I will run out first.
But why
Right.
do you have to pass him your card then? Why can't he
Like
be
if-
the one to foot the bill while you run away?
A.
Right?
B, C, A?
Has that never crossed your mind?
Oh, I feel like Hazel just like hit us with a with a true bomb. It can happen from now.
But I guess like maybe it's like my turn to pay.
So you guys have that like worked out previously already lah.
It's not. There's no hard and fast rule to it, and there's no like, oh, okay, today I pay, tomorrow you pay, tomorrow you never pay. Hello, why you never pay? Don't have.
It's just like, oh, maybe he has been paying a few times.
Yes.
So okay,
Yes.
I should pay for
Yes.
this one.
Well, they are very calculative leh.
Oh, is it? Yours is like 1.
You really take note one Got notebook.
Not really. Not really lah, but I would not be happy if I'm always footing the bill. Sometimes it's not just about the money. Of course, yes, the money is one thing.
Yeah.
Because they all add up to a new bag, right? But the thing is, I feel cared for. I feel loved, when he foots the bill. It's like, him using his hard-earned money to treat me to a meal, and that is very
What's your
important
love language?
to me.
Gifts,
I think gifts and
act of service.
yeah,
Yeah.
and touch.
Touch you.
Yeah. I think it doesn't work that way. She doesn't want your touch.
So yeah, maybe
Okay,
you can
okay.
say this is me perpetuating. No. This is toxic femininity really in itself.
I think we
And
are
I agree.
guilty of both sides lah, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, this is my next question. Have you ever been guilty of perpetuating toxic masculinity or subconsciously practicing toxic masculinity in the past?
I think
So
I'm
that's
guilty
my-
of expecting him to plan things.
Oh.
I don't like it when he asks me, where you want to go? Or where do you want to eat?
But I think that's less of a gender kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's more of like your personality. Maybe you're just not the more detailed one who will go into the fine little things.
Is it not a gender? I don't know.
Because usually they rely on the female to plan this kind of things, right?
Yes, and I don't want to do it. And I don't know. I just expect you to do it. Like I just want you to do it.
But what if he plans this thing and then you don't like it?
Most of the time, I'm okay one. I'm not the where you want to eat or anywhere. KFC no, McDonald's no. No, I'm not that kind.
That's me. I'm so embarrassed.
Why?
No lah, that's
Tell
me
us.
lah.
Cause you say anything, then you say
Yeah,
no lah.
he will ask me like, oh, so what you want to eat? Then I'll be like, I don't know lah, you go and see lor. Then he'll be like, this? No. This one? This one? Then he'll be like, then I don't know what you want to eat.
Then why you ask him in the first place?
Because I also don't know. Maybe that is an example too.
Yeah, this happens to me a lot. So I have learned to, just choose for myself. Because I want to save that that quarrel. So if I know that I will not be okay with the choices that he picks, then I
You better
bloody
say
well,
first, yeah.
just pick in the first place and save all of this hassle.
Yeah, but I think, on the whole, right, we don't, or maybe because I guess we grew up in the way that we did, we don't really like expect men to take the full load of everything. Like, we also want to play our part in the family,
Right.
in the relationship.
That is true. So, like I mentioned last episode, right, Jordan has his own company, and then when they have projects, they will have to work till like, really ridiculous hours, like 2, 3 a.m. that kind. And to him, to sort of relieve stress, right, he would game.
Okay.
He would indulge himself in like maybe 2 hours of gaming.
Yeah.
And then by that time, it's like 5 a.m. So by the time he gets home, it's about 6 a.m. And I would be upset. But then he would tell me that, hey, baby, this is my way of relieving stress. But my reason for being upset is because he falls sick easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this late hours, right, cause his immune system to be very weak lah.
So
we
it's
are
because
coming
you
from-
care for him,
Yeah,
what?
we're coming from two different point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I find that to my horror, in my heart, I would actually feel like he would man up and deal with this stress with another way instead of gaming. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, I've been on the receiving end of this.
Huh?
Oh goodness.
Means what?
So, I'm Jordan.
Okay, you are gaming.
No, I don't game, but basically, like, I'm the one who stays out late.
Yeah.
So this was many years ago at the start of our relationship.
Okay.
So I'm the one who's always staying out late and stuff like that. And he's not very happy about it. And for me, it's like, why?
Why are you
Because,
controlling me?
that, and also I have this like strange idea in my head that it doesn't matter what time. You know, like if people say don't stay out late, I'm like, why? If you go out 3 hours in the day and you go out 3 hours at night, what is the difference?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But obviously for him, it's also health,
Yeah.
and wanting you to sleep earlier because you need to get your sleep. But for me, it's like,
It doesn't make
I
sense.
will take care of that,
Right.
like, yeah.
I just thought of something that is kind of like a bit of like perpetuating toxic masculinity in a sense. I'm not sure if it is. Let me know. So I have never been like okay with my partners having very close girlfriends,
Okay.
Female friends.
female friends. Yeah. On the flip side, like if this was in the past though, I'm much better about it now. It doesn't really affect me now. But in the past, when I first started dating, right, and when I was first with Asaf, right, he had a lot of girlfriends, like female friends.
This
I
is
would
part
imagine
one, right?
so
Yeah,
because
this is part one.
because he's so bubbly and
Correct,
he's so
correct.
easy to talk to.
Yeah, correct. So females naturally like gravitate towards him
Right.
as a friend lah.
Yeah.
And I would be very upset if he like goes out with his female friends, jealous lah in a sense, right? But then on the flip side, at that point of time, I was also hanging out with a lot of male
Male
friends.
friends.
See?
Yeah. So it's like double
Standards. Yeah.
Correct. So now I'm not like that anymore, thank goodness. But that was a very toxic trait.
Right.
Yeah.
Understand. Actually, I think if this kind of things happen to listeners while tuning in, it's actually good because they are like a free test for you. If your boyfriend really leaves you for that female friend, it just means that you guys are not meant to be.
Correct.
You cannot make it in the long run.
Yeah, you know what Asaf told me?
Yeah.
He said that no matter how much you control her, if a guy wants to cheat, he will find a way to cheat.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly, and we should all realize that. So why not just give him the freedom to hang out with whoever he wants? Yeah. And- yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The more you try to control, the more they will want to distance themselves. Yeah. Well, a lot of learning points today. Okay.
Really, really.
Yes.
A lot of food for thought as well.
I think we can all agree that toxic masculinity is a problem that affects society as a whole.
Yep.
But in this topic, we actually covered toxic masculinity, but I realized that we actually gave a lot of our viewpoints on what toxic traits can be.
Our own
Our
toxic
own
traits.
viewpoints, yeah, exactly. And I think it's very interesting we can
We all
have
had
this
an
covered.
epiphany today.
Yeah, exactly.
While trying to talk, because when you talk about toxic masculinity, right, you always must look at the flip side in any debate.
Yeah.
And that caused us to reflect on ourselves too.
Yeah.
And realize that, like we also have some changing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for listeners tuning in, maybe you find that you have some changing or reflecting to do as well. I think we can cover this in another episode of the Harsh podcast, so
Yep.
stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But to end things off, how do you think we can change extreme toxic masculinity mindsets? Just one point from each of us.
Okay. I think that when we eventually become parents, okay, we cannot perpetuate these kinds of like stereotypes.
Right.
Boys will be boys, men cannot cry.
Yeah.
As a parent, right, you need to tell your son that he can cry. Let him express his emotions. Let him go and take dance, take music, whatever that he wants to. Because we shouldn't like label it as masculine or feminine. We
You're
are all
right.
just human.
Yeah.
For me, I think we need to drop the double standards. Whatever we want our partners to do for us, we must be willing to do this for them as well.
Yes.
That's for me. Azura?
I think if you're parents raising kids, I think you should not give in to stereotypes, especially when it comes to the decisions that they're going to make in life. If they say something like they want to, I don't know, be a dancer, be a nurse, be whatever job that you usually associate with females, for example. Don't do that because that's a female job. What are female jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also on the flip side, don't tell your daughters like,
Yeah.
you cannot do that. That's a man's job or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, when we were young, right?
She can be an MMA fighter if she wants
Yes,
to.
that's right. And especially when they are children, don't tell guys like, oh, you cannot play with dolls. You cannot play with Barbie dolls.
Yep.
My brother played with Barbie dolls. He played with my dolls. I played with his Legos.
Okay.
It's kind of like a, it's okay, what?
Yeah.
So I think we can also all agree that toxic masculinity is a matter of personal opinion. And we can all do our part to change it for the better.
Yeah, guys, your feelings are valid. We will listen to you if other people won't.
That's right. So try to be, I guess, like a bit more emotionally available for your partners as well.
For
don't
yourself.
feel like it makes you less of a man.
Yep.
If your partners are not willing to listen to you, like Azura said, we will be here to listen to you. You
That's
can
right.
slide into our DM
Yeah.
or email us at hello@itsclarity.co. We would love to know your thoughts.
Have you ever experienced any moments in your life where you had to suppress your emotion, like you really wanted to cry?
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but you're like, I cannot cry. I have to be strong. I'm a
Because
man.
of social stigma.
And also, like, think about it. How do you practice self-care?
Right.
It doesn't have to be like, oh, you put on a mask, you take a bath. But sometimes it's about like validating your own emotions and like giving yourself the space to feel.
Yeah.
And I'm also very curious to know, how do you display your manhood that's considered healthy masculinity? Well, we haven't ever mentioned this term one time in this episode. Healthy
Wow,
masculinity.
healthy masculinity. What does that look like?
Hyun Bin.
So let us know. We would love to know your thoughts, and who knows, like you can join us in this cozy little setup too.
Yay! Looking forward to that. So once again, thank you so much for listening. I'm Hazel.
I'm Azura.
I'm Germaine.
And we'll see you next time on the